Let's talk about media manipulation and lies because I want to say I'm shocked by this story, but I'm not shocked. I was kind of shocked. Okay, the New York Post. Biden White House claims U.S. has zero inflation despite annual rate remaining at 8.5. Joe Biden actually said inflation last month 0%, and I was like, what? Inflation's at 8.5. It's insane. It's really, really bad. Anyone who's going, trying to figure out their finances right now is probably freaking out about this.
Totally.
You know what's scary? People are going to believe this. And you know what this is? The definition of a recession, the colloquial one, is two consecutive quarters of negative economic growth. Bill Clinton said it in 2001 or whatever, and the viral video from C-SPAN people are posting. And the UK considers it that. And all of a sudden they're like, no, actually, that's not the definition of a recession. So we're changing it. So they're saying the technical definition is actually quite different. So now we're not going to use that. This is what they're doing here. Technically, Joe Biden is correct. Axios reports inflation drops to 0 in July due to falling gas prices. Wow. And what? That's not true. It's 8.5%.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think you understand. Do you ever play games with little kids and they make up the rules and then when we start winning, they change the rules?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So what they're saying now is month to month inflation was 0.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Inflation is calculated on a yearly basis, and they decided to change the way they calculate it so they can report, and Biden can lie and tell you there's no inflation.
And every headline can say, no inflation, 0 inflation under Biden, and they leave out all the details.
Yep.
Because they know you're scrolling, you're not actually reading the article. Right. The only thing they need you to get to quote is the headline.
That's right. Educate me here. 8.5%. Does that mean every year there's going to be an 8.5% increase?
From this time last year till to this month.
It has increased by 8.5%. Yes. And he's saying last month it was 8.5%. This month it's still 8.5%.
So it's 0.
So there's 0.
Right. Exactly.
Unbelievable.
But it went up and then back down. So they're saying it didn't.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, it's not.
But then the other issue is that
it's still 8.5%.
But food cost is still way up. Gas is still way up. All of these things are way up. But gas went down a little bit. So the funny thing is, you also got to understand what it means for there to be inflation, for there to be no inflation month to month. If if gas is skyrocketing, and then it goes up from $2 to $5, and then it drops down to $4.50, they will say inflation is at 0,
down.
even though it's massively up.
Oh my god!
Because it went down just a little bit, just a teeny little bit.
But this administration plays with numbers all the time. I mean, this administration plays with numbers all the time, and they really condescend to the American people because they count on us to be innumerate or not to know how to read a chart, not to notice. I think that's why legacy media is kind of hemorrhaging viewers, and alternative media is booming.
And that's why censorship is so important, because they have to try and stop that. But I do have to wonder, man, does it really matter? I think the Democrats maybe, I'm imagining they're all like sitting around the consultants and like the DNC or whatever, and they're like, we've tried really hard to convince half this country. Why don't we just convince the stupid people?
Right.
That's so much easier, and you don't need to spend as much money.
Right.
So now they're doing things that to us, it's like brazen. Inflation is at 0? What are you talking about? It's calculated on a yearly basis. Right. How many people right now are going, inflation is 0? Actually, inflation is 0. You're wrong. Here's Axios.
Right.
They said it's 0.
Right.
And you're like, how do you even negotiate or argue or compromise with that?
I feel like it's just a desperate move, right? We're getting so close to midterm elections that they're like, we're not going to win everybody, so we've just got to get a couple here to try and ease our way into a victory.
I said November was going to be fun. Ooh. October is going to be fun. It's going to be crazy. Like, okay, so we've been swatted now 9 times since January, and plus we've had other security issues.
This group has been swatted
9
times.
9.
SWAT teams come into your studio.
Did we not tell you that before you came on the show?
I thought it was like a metaphor, a figure of speech.
No. Yeah. So after the first, I think 2 or 3 times, it was no longer like multi-jurisdictional armed groups coming to the house. The first time it happened, it was bad, like guns drawn.
What had you done?
We had Marjorie Taylor Greene
It's a
on the
media
show.
company. They build walls around Paramount because people obsess with media. It's too accessible.
Right.
So we've had all of those issues, and I'm like, yo, guys, if you thought it was crazy, wait till October. Right before.
Isn't it quite traumatic to be swatted one time, let alone multiple times?
The first time, they actually came, guns drawn, and
Tim was on air.
We were on air, and the cops like come to the door, and I'm like, what is going on? And they're like, come out. And I'm like, I'm not coming out. What are you doing in my house? You know what I mean?
Good Lord.
But after that, they would come and do a sweep and then apologize. And now
They're harassing you.
Well, not the police.
Right.
The police are instructed to come for every call.
I see. So people are threatening you and they come to protect you.
People call the police and then make a fake thing like, I am a
Someone's
crazy
harassing
person.
you.
And,
Gotcha.
and so the cops are like, okay.
Wasn't there just a Twitch streamer who got shot during the streamer was swatted and they got shot during?
Shot? I don't know
Yeah,
about that.
hold on, I'll look it up. But
No, there was a two guys who were like fighting online on like Call of Duty, and then one guy said, "Here's my address, do something," and it was a fake address. And when the guy swatted the address, and when the cops showed up, the resident had no idea what was going on, opened his door, walked out with his gun, and the cops shot and killed him. Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to harp on too much of that stuff. My point is just that as we head into October and November with the midterms coming up, you are going to see the craziest balls to the wall shenanigans all over the country. And October surprises. If you think there's just going to be one, no, you're wrong. It's going to be just everywhere. It's like photos are going to come out, like you were mentioning, weird photos. There's like they're claiming now that Alex Jones sent nudes to of his wife to Roger Stone or something like that. Like all of the weirdest things you can ever imagine. They're going to throw everything at the wall and hope it sticks.
I'm looking at the deepfakes. Get ready for deepfakes. I think did you see that Biden video where his eyes are open the whole time and they're pure dark black circles? It looked like a deepfake. I'm not
Deepfake?
It looked like a deepfake. I couldn't tell, but it didn't
What
look
do you mean?
real. It didn't blank. He talked with
the
a
video of him-
real low voice. It was really weird.
I think they just gave him uppers.
drugs.
The world of deepfakes is now. Be prepared. Do not believe what you see at face value unless it's coming at you, charging you, and it's a bear. Then,
I think
believe
they
it.
just gave Joe Biden a bunch of uppers.
Like I'm having
And
a
his
hard time
eyes are like-
believing.
he's like, listen here.
Until the point where it's not that I disbelieve what I see, I just don't believe it. And that could be very dangerous if it's an emergency. Like if the boy has cried wolf many times, and now you're here, Naomi, wolf. Hello, welcome. Do you have faith in the Republic?
Generally?
In the American Republic, do you have faith of its survival?
Oh, God, that's such a difficult question. You really want the answer?
Yeah.
I think that we are at serious risk of devolving into civil war.
Hey, I agree.
You stole Tim's
I
line.
thought you were going to steal Tim's slogan.
There's like they say in the chat, they're like every time Tim says Civil War, drink.
What steps would you
We
advise?
talk about it kind of a lot.
Oh, forgive me if I'm echoing you and I did not realize.
No, we
it.
agree.
Look how much you guys have in common.
Yeah.
We
There you
do.
go.
To advise a circumvention of that, what are some gifts you would impart?
These are my gifts. Social media and digital platforms, can be very empowering, but they're also a way to surveil and manage human communications, as we've discussed. We're messaged that the things people do together are like low tech and second rate compared to digital tools, but in fact, it's incredibly sophisticated, a room full of people talking to each other, or an auditorium full of people with a speaker talking to a giant group, or a protest, or a march with a bunch of human beings talking and sharing, or a movement where people are singing and marching and praying together. So I would say to everyone, the best thing you can do is get off your screens and get into rooms with other humans and have fellowship with them and feed them and be fed by them and fall in love with them and disclose your heart to them, because it's only those revolutions that really are peaceful and survive. And that's also a very sophisticated way to communicate information, because it's hard to hack the human brain yet. It's hard to hack a room where people are having a cocktail party or a potluck or praying together or singing together. And we've forgotten that we can gather. Like, look at what happened in this country before digital technology. You used to have whistle stops where people would talk to 1,000 people at once, or, all the great movements, the women's movement, the labor movement, the civil rights movement, the abolition movement. These happen in person, in real life. So my great blessing to all of you, even if it feels weird, if you've been on screens your whole life, is to, leave the screens behind for a lot of time and fall in love with other human beings.
We've got a project we're working on. We're going to be opening up a physical location where we're going to have gaming. So we'll have like a Magic the Gathering, D&D. We'll have card games. We'll have board games. We'll have coffee, probably, maybe sandwiches or something like that. We'll have skating stuff as well.
Love it.
But the plan is, with this space, Saturday mornings, we're going to do Saturday morning cartoons, where the idea is you don't really have Saturday morning cartoons anymore
No, you
because
don't.
everything's VOD on demand digital. But when I was younger, we'd wake up on Saturday and watch the cartoons. So we can have families come. You bring your kids to hang out and watch good family content that is approved by the families. None of this weird stuff they're making for kids. There will be like a breakfast buffet, and parents will get to interact with each other. And the idea that I was having was, there's a lot of people that don't go to church. Church does provide some kind of something similar.
Community,
It provides community.
Right.
So what can we do to bring more people? Hey, come hang out Saturday morning, something to do with the family. We're going to have pancakes. We're going to have waffles, eggs, sausage, bacon, some vegan and vegetarian options, coffee, milk, orange juice. The kids will watch cartoons. Everybody will eat. We'll all learn from each other, meet each other, and we'll hang out. That's what you got to do, building
Beautiful.
community.
I love it. I love it. And when people actually encounter each other, they realize there's nothing to fear, overwhelmingly. People will meet who think they're across a political divide, and they'll have a conversation and realize, like, you're not a weirdo, you're not a monster. Our kids are playing together.
I kind of like it when someone gets heated and then you still listen to them and you're still kind of even more bonded afterwards.
Right.
Because you chose to listen to them.
Yeah.
And not like shut them down before they got too angry
Isn't
or whatever.
that gorgeous?
Yeah, I love it.
My best learning has come from talking to people I think I'm going to completely disagree with. I don't know why people are so scared of it. It's so exciting to hear what someone has to say who totally sees the world in an oppositional way to one's own thoughts. Like, how exciting is that? You learn so much.
Yeah, we used to chat roulette, and I'd come up on people from China and talk to these Chinese people. I don't know if they're behind the Iron
Chat
Curtain.
roulette? That's
yeah,
awesome.
chat roulette. You just hit like roulette, and then you randomly roulette with another. Sometimes it's like, a little bit pornographic. But
I was going to say,
sometimes it's
no
someone
one
in China.
go on there. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, I haven't been on chat roulette in a while, but great functionality. And I would like to hear from them now. I
Yes.
want to know what they're experiencing from the Chinese point of view. It's
Wow.
important that we...
Well, they won't be able to tell you the truth if they're based in China, but you should stay in contact with them. I should add to that beautiful scene of people having pancakes or having potluck or talking to each other. We also need to know where our food is coming from. My husband and I just bought a quarter of a cow from a
cool.
local farmer. Now we have to freezer, but I expect leading up to November, shortages in food, cyber attacks, power grid outages, all kinds of things to destabilize and scare people. And we need to be able to defend our homes as
It's
well.
another reason to know your neighbors, right? The internet community that you build yourself can be great, but no one is going to come help you if, let's say, a tree falls on your house, or
Absolutely.
you need something in the middle of the night, right? You need to know and invest in the people who are physically around you, because ultimately they control or they influence the environment you're in, and that is more important than the environment you build for yourself online, because that is contrived.
Yes. I would add to that, there's so much nonsense about gender, right? Which I did not intend. I didn't do it, didn't mean it. Wasn't what I
Okay,
meant,
sure.
Right? I really didn't. I was never that kind of feminist. But we need men. We need women, we need men, we need people of all genders, obviously. But when things fall apart, and I thoroughly expect institutions will fall apart, grids will fall apart. There's going to be chaos leading up to November and after. That's what they want.
But
clearly, we need men as well as women.
But you think in the next few months we're going to see this stuff, like food shortages, grids?
We're seeing them. I predicted this. I predicted food shortages starting in probably January of this year, and it was a time of great abundance, and we hadn't had empty shelves, and now we have food shortages. People are going to be cold. They're planning on people being cold in Europe because the supply lines
The fuel prices are through the roof.
Exactly.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.